Howdy, this is Mackenzie Franklin from SideGameLLC here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Today we're going to be taking a look at my most anticipated games that are set to be delivered in 2021. Now this is coming a little bit late because a lot of these dates have been a little bit unsure, but as of recording this video, these games are set to come out in 2021. So very excited for all of these, but before this list starts, I do want to cover a couple of, honorable mentions. They're things that I don't really require, or I don't really list as valid for this list because either they're expansions or I've already played them, so I don't really want to include them on things that I'm excited for, but I do want to mention them because they are definitely worth it. So first thing is the Nemesis Lockdown. I already really know that I really like Nemesis. So Nemesis Lockdown is set on Mars, and it's a new setting for a great game system, really thematic. I really enjoy this one, so super excited for this one, but I don't think it deserved a place on this list because I already know I like this game. Next one is another game I really enjoy. This is Kingdom Death Monster. This is specifically the Gambler's Chest. So this is a huge expansion that's going to have lots of new quarries, new survivors, new systems in general. It's supposed to revamp and unlock what's called Kingdom Death Advanced, also introducing the Campaigns of Death, just more content. So I've played everything in the base game and all the current expansions, so more Kingdom Death is exciting. So very excited to jump into this and start Kingdom Death Advanced. So really exciting. Up next is Cloudspire, Ankar's Plunder. So this is a new expansion that introduces two new factions to the world of Cloudspire. So really excited for this one. I love the mercenaries and the new pirates. It actually just arrived last week, so started that painting process. I don't know if I'm actually going to do it until the summer, though. I'm not a big fan of painting, but the gameplay is amazing. So really excited to jump in with these new factions and planning on playing some this week. So really excited for this. But once again, I know I love this game, so I want to mention it here. Last one is a game that I've already played this year, one of the new deliveries, and this is Sleeping Gods. Incredible game. This, I don't know where it would be on my most anticipated. It actually wasn't very high, honestly, but I do want to mention it here because Sleeping Gods is that incredible. So this is definitely one to mention. And last on these honorable mentions is the Galaxy's Most Wanted. I love Marvel Champions, and I love every bit of content for it. So far, this has been one of the more challenging and fun expansions that I've seen for this game. This is one I have played, and I love it. And everything Marvel Champions would be on this list, but I'm going to disqualify it because I already know I really enjoy Marvel Champions. So all these games are standalone games that are super exciting. So without further ado, let's jump into the list. Starting at number 10, this is Ascension, the miniatures game. So Ascension Tactics, this has you building decks using the Ascension deck building system to build up your customized deck for your miniature, and you'll be moving that miniature on the board and participating in combats. So I really like the idea of kind of increasing the ability of your characters as you play, and it uses the proven Ascension deck building system. So I think Ascension is a fine deck building game. It's cool. It's straightforward. You're trying to get the most points, basically. It's a race, and you're doing that by having these really fun card combos. Ascension Tactics, though, introduces a board. It introduces a person that you're positioning on the board, and you can play competitively or you can play cooperatively, which I think is a lot of fun. So this cooperative system sounds like a blast, and it's one that I'm really excited to dive into. And this, I love what they're doing with the Ascension world and introducing this arena combat. So super excited. Ascension Tactics, my number 10. Number 9 is Aeon's Trespass Odyssey. Aeon's Trespass Odyssey sets out to be this large game, very similar to something like Kingdom Death Monster with this boss battling system. But it also has these really cool elements of Seventh Continent with exploration. You have the core game, which contains all of these really cool kind of Greek-style miniatures. And sorry, my dog's repositioning over here. She's chilling with me while I do this list. But you have all these really cool story content. You have this awesome Greek world. The board is very similar to Kingdom Death, but this game really pushes cooperation, which I think is really cool. It rewards you doing proper planning and striking the same parts multiple times to hit really key areas. You have this really awesome idea of piloting the Argo, so your ship as you go around this map. It is super exciting, super cool, and I really like this idea of this, instead of this new world, going into ancient history and diving into that. So I'm really excited for this campaign. I love the system of cooperation that it's going to bring, and the idea of managing your ship as you travel from place to place, encountering bosses, just sounds like a lot of fun. So that is Aeon, Trespass, Odyssey. Super excited for this, and I can't wait till it arrives. Up next, my number 8 is going to be Endless Winter. Endless Winter is, first of all, it's beautiful. I love the art. The Miko does a great job here. I'm not familiar with the designer, actually, but the game itself looks really fascinating. So this is a combination of worker placement and deck building mechanics that are sound and solid and true. We've seen this in games like Dune Imperium. This boasts a huge breadth of add-ons, expansions, life into this game. So many reviews for this are extremely positive. It's got an art style I love, mechanics that I think are proven and true, and I'm very excited to see this combination of things here. So I don't know a lot about this game, but this whole art style and the idea of it as a whole makes me really excited for it. Up next, we're going to be looking at the Isofarian Guard. So this is my number 7. And Isofarian Guard here is a storytelling and bag building adventure game for 1 to 2 players. So I really like this. It has a musical score powered by the Foreteller app, which is a blast. I love the idea of having your stuff read to you. Narration, I think, elevates the games that I play just in general. So I love narration apps. Forgotten Waters did it. I love the Foreteller app specifically for games like Gloomhaven. It's super fun, super wonderful. And Isofarian Guard looks like it's going to be just like that. It's going to be a wonderful exploration style game. Now, I don't remember if this one has the narration by the actor who plays Jorah Mormont in Game of Thrones, but one of these larger campaigns does. But just the fact it has that narration is just an added bonus. But I love this idea of traveling around on this map using your upgraded poker chips to increase your skills, leveling up your characters, interacting with the world around you. It looks like a lot of fun. It's well organized, well made. This one looks like a blast. I really like the theme here of the icy terrain, the artwork here. You'll notice that I'm going to go ahead and spoil it now. Frosthaven's not on my list. It's another game I really enjoy. It's got a new system, but I'm really excited to dive into something with some new mechanics. So these are really cool, in my opinion. I think that the idea of this crafting, bag building game, it reminds me of things like War Chest, which I really enjoy, but putting that into a narrative scope looks like a lot of fun. So really excited for Isofarian Guard. My number 6 is going to be Townsfolk Tussle. Townsfolk Tussle is a boss battling game, very similar to Kingdom Death Monster. However, this one is done in a story fashion similar to something like Too Many Bones. You are going to have a single shot kind of story that you'll play with you and a group of friends, and it can be over in like maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So it's up to you. You're going to take your crew, and you're going to be fighting, I think it's 3 bosses in a row, and getting loot as you go through bosses. So the mayor's been killed, and your job is to, there he is, your job is to find out who did it, take them out, and eventually become the new mayor. So really cool. I love the whole art style here. It's this gruesome cartoon-esque pieces. These miniatures are wild and wonky and fun. I think the whole direction of the game is great. I mean, look at these things. The scarecrow looks great. The ostrich is really freaky, but I can really appreciate the art style and everything about it. So this is one that I think has a very unique take on the boss battling genre. I think that it's a great setup, and it's going to get people playing and really enjoy it. So I really like this one. That's Townsfolk Tussle, my number 6. Number 5 should be delivering next month, and this is Oath, Chronicles of Empire and Exile. So this is another Cole Worley design with amazing art by Kyle Farron, once again, the same team for Root. And my goodness, this one looks so cool. So right off the bat, just the idea of the game. There is a kingdom that is forever expanding and forever growing, and it's based on the decisions made by the players. So you play the game, and the winner of the last game is going to affect all future games. Your game now has a history. So whoever is in charge in the last game, whoever wins, will be dominant in the next game, which is going to affect the map. And I think that's super fascinating, this continuous legacy game. The production quality is insane, as you can see in this little illustration here. You've got a mat that rolls out, all the pieces are lovely, it's well organized, ready to go. I love this stuff. It's going to save me some organization steps, which I can definitely appreciate. I love the idea of the game as a whole, with you kind of manipulating the factions and having these upgradable cards. Oh, it looks wonderful. The art design, of course, is killer. Everything about this just screams quality, and Cole Worley is a designer I trust with a lot of games like this, and I don't really gravitate to a lot of games in this kind of setting or genre, but this style, this gameplay, and this promise of this expanding kind of pseudo-legacy game that you can drop in and out people, and it's continuous, sounds incredible. So really excited for Oath, and that's my number 5. Number 4 is ISS Vanguard. So I'm a big fan of games like Etherfields and Tainted Grail. I have really enjoyed those. Nemesis, so Awakened Realms has really done a great job, really left a good impression on me. So I think that they have evolved in their game design. So I thought Etherfields was much better than Tainted Grail, and I can only see it getting better. And ISS Vanguard promises a game where you are doing Star Trek level exploration with a wonderful dice mechanic, and you are going to be exploring these crazy worlds, making decisions that truly matter. And I think that sounds amazing. There's not a lot about the story so far. There were some tidbits in one of the adventure books in one of the Tainted Grail expansions and in the Etherfield box. But the game itself looks wonderful. I love the idea of going through multiple phases where you have like a management phase of the crew board, and then you're actually going onto the planet and exploring. The artwork is wonderful and colorful. The dice are chunky, and everything about this just makes me super excited. So if they hit that 2021 delivery date, I will be so happy. So I'm looking forward to next October. This will be great. So I love this whole theme. I can't wait to explore the stars with ISS Vanguard. My number 3 is Oathsworn Into the Deepwood. This is another one of those boss battling games. Go figure, I really like those. But Oathsworn is card driven. Oathsworn has you playing your cards as a very unique character, and it has this really interesting cooldown system where you're going to be playing these cards and you kind of push them around. It's like a cycle. It's really interesting. The characters are very unique. You have one that's like this big polar bear, some hunters, and the setting of the game is wild. You are basically in this overgrown forest that's taken over the entire world, the Deepwood, right? So you are going to be facing these giant bosses, and the coolest thing is this game has a lot of surprises inside. So you've got all of these mini boxes that are secrets. You're not sure exactly what you're going to run into in the forest. So lots of mysteries to unlock. And I really like that they did here on this campaign. They let you look inside the mystery boxes if you wanted to, or you could keep it safe. So I have not looked at anything, and I can't wait. I'm very excited. The gameplay looks very solid. I love the idea of having these might cards, so you can use the dice, or you can use the cards a la Gloomhaven, so you can have your own personal modifier deck, which I think is really cool. I think that's really neat that they gave you lots of decision space here with the different ways that you may resolve combat. And I think that's really cool. You can tailor the game to the kind of experience you want. So it also has this cool system where you're going to be going into towns. You'll have a storybook for the different kind of encounters between these big boss battles. And I think that's a lot of fun. This one also has narration and a fully narrated app and companion app. It's got lots of really neat terrain. The world is wonderful. The maps are wonderful. And you have all of these just awesome things that make this world come alive. So I'm really excited for Oathsworn. This might be the one that has the Game of Thrones actor narrating everything. So I really should look into that. But I'm really excited either way, either this or Isofarian Guard. So I'm really excited for Oathsworn in this really unique setting with this wonderful gameplay. So super excited. Number 3. My number 2 is probably the smallest game on this whole list, and this is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. So I'm a big fan of Terraforming Mars, one of my favorite games, and it does engine building super well. But what they've done here is they've combined it with Race for the Galaxy mechanics, where everyone's playing simultaneously, but you are still working on this engine building game focusing on terraforming Mars. You've got the corporations. It's got all of the mainstays from the board game, but put into this streamlined, compact package. And I'm a huge sucker for card games, and this really fits the bill for something that I am excited to jump into, and I'm excited to learn about and play. And it's got this wonderful solo mode, it looks like. It has a cooperative mode where you're teaming up with somebody else to terraform the planet. I can see me and my wife playing this because it takes those aspects of terraforming Mars that she enjoys as well, and it's something that we can enjoy and play together without, being at each other's throat. So very excited. This is one I can't wait to dive into, and it's got brand new artwork. It's got this wonderful aesthetic to it. It's beautiful, and I really can't wait to dive into this one. I've heard this, a lot of people say, why do I need to play the normal terraforming Mars when I have this? And that gives me a lot of hope for the quality of this game, in addition to just the theming and everything else about it. So I'm super excited. That's Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. But it barely missed the #1 spot. I can see myself playing this a lot, but #1 is one that I'm undoubtedly the most excited for. This is from the designer Eric Lang. This is the game in a line of games that I always want to come back to, and this is Ankh, Gods of Egypt. Now, growing up, Egypt mythology was something that I was super involved in, loved it, loved everything about it, and Eric Lang's designs with Blood Rage and Rising Sun are some of my favorite games, specifically Blood Rage, and this game in particular seems like a game that I am just stoked for. It takes the Egyptian mythology and weaves it into the gameplay. You have the idea of combining gods to become one. You are fighting to survive in this era of monotheism, and I think this is such a cool idea for a game. The whole Egyptian aesthetic is wonderful. Right off the bat, this is one that I'm going to want to jump into immediately. I want to try everything, and one that whenever we have more than 2 people, I'm going to want to try to get played. The whole aesthetic, the artwork here is incredible, and this is my favorite form of deluxification when it comes to Kickstarter, is it includes more monsters, more factions, but it also includes overall component upgrades. So it's got plastic bits, it's got nice upgraded tokens, and I think this is going to bring this huge deluxe feel to a game that I'm going to want to play a lot. The gameplay looks wonderful. The creatures look amazing. I love the idea of being a god as opposed to being one of these clans and controlling your own kind of followers as you're trying to prove that you are worth worshipping. So this is an insanely cool concept from a designer I trust in a line of games that I think are some of the best. So Ankh, Gods of Egypt, my #1. I'm so excited. And that's the list. So those are my games I'm most excited for, my top 10 games most excited for in 2021. So this is based on the Board Game Geek listing. They all say that they are going to be released in 2021. Now, as you noticed, almost all of these are crowdfunding or Kickstarter games. So these are going to be, subject to date. It might not come out this year. And that's just something I got to deal with. But nonetheless, I'm very excited for these. I'm super excited to get my hands on them, super excited to try them, and I'm super excited to teach them, as always. So I really appreciate you watching. If you have any comments about what you saw, please let me know down below. If you agree with me, I'd love to hear it. So what are you most excited for? If you have any questions, again, please leave them in the comments. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. It helps the channel grow. We're trying to get as high as possible, so thank you so much. If you have any questions, again, please let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Side Game Strong.